everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Atma Podcast, where we give you the tips, tools, and strategies you need to be successful. I'll be your host today. We're going to be talking about some great SEO, search engine optimization. It's a lot of fun today. Today is a different day. Today is November 5th, and it is National Donut Day. So if you don't have your donut with you, then, you're not successful. You need to have a donut when listening to this podcast. Now, today I have a special guest with me. I have Leslie Radford. She is our content creator. She does a ton of stuff for Advent Trinity. So why don't you say hello, Leslie?
Hey guys, this is Leslie, and I'm excited to be here today. I've been wanting to get on here with you since you started it.
Yeah, she's been bugging me. She's like, hey, if you need help with the podcast,
I would love to help you.
I said, okay, let's do this.
Let's do it.
So before we begin the show, though, I'd like to talk about our sponsors. We have our first sponsor, which is Nuvadesk Co-working, which provides us this beautiful, lovely podcast room. They are a collaborative area which provides office spaces, conference rooms, event spaces, you name it. So if you are an entrepreneur or business owner needing an office space, needing a place to work, or a place to collaborate, visit nuvadesk.com and receive a free day pass. And our second sponsor is Southwest Restaurant Equipment. Now, Southwest Restaurant Equipment is just that. They provide restaurant equipment. So if you are needing any kind of stoves or microwaves or even just small stuff like bowls or anything for your restaurant, visit swrequipment.com. Now, let's get into the show. Let's talk about search engine optimization. It's a huge topic. Everybody's wondering, what is going on with Google's algorithm? So it's a lot of things changing, isn't there, Leslie?
There's a lot going on everywhere, not just Google, but everywhere.
Yeah, people are like, I don't even know where to start anymore.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into SEO. I mean, people think that you just put up a keyword and you're good to go, but you're not.
They're like, hey, I'm going to do this thing called search engine optimization and type a little bit of words in the back end, and we're good to go. And it just does not work that way, does it?
It's not that simple.
I wish. If it was that simple, we'd all be rich, I guess.
Right.
So, you've done a lot of research on search engine optimization, right?
Well, yeah, for the content side of things, yes.
So what is search engine optimization?
Search engine optimization is where you are using a myriad of different things to be seen on the internet.
Right. And that, that is so important to be seen on the internet, but what's the word search, right? So people are searching for things on the internet. Okay. So it's like, okay, I want to be found when people search my services or products. And I don't think a lot of people understand it as a process, right?
Right.
And that's something that we're going to talk about today. But what I think search engine optimization is, and here's my definition, it's the process of becoming relevant. That's how I think of it, right?
That's good. Yeah.
Because it is a process. You have to, there's steps that you have to take. There's certain things, and it's an ongoing thing. And people are like, hey, I want you to build a site. I want it to be found on Google. I have a site. It's up, and I'm ready to go. And isn't that like the majority of people, right, that think like that? But now people are becoming a little bit more educated. And we're trying to educate our clients, right? Because it is a huge process. It's a long process. But what exactly do you do to help with search engine optimization?
So I do content. And what that means is any words that go on your website are going to be found in SERP, right?
Yeah.
So I do a lot of keyword research. What are people looking for? How do they say it when they're searching for something? And then those are the words that I use in your content to be found when they search for something specific.
Right.
So, for instance, Advent Trinity, people are going to be looking for marketing. They're going to be looking for SEO. But how are they wording that? What words are they using to find us? And how are we going to be found? How are they going to find us?
Right. And then so like that gets into the popular question is, why is SEO so important? It's because when people search, a lot of people are like, but people think, okay, I need a marketer near me. And that's typically what a business owner wants, right? It's like, I want to be found under, a marketing near me. But those aren't the questions that people ask, right? So
Right.
people are like, why is social media important for a business? Why do I need a website? How do I build a website? Right? Those kinds of questions. There's people asking questions
Right.
in
Yep.
in terms and in by you being the content and blogger, right? You post all these blogs on these sites. You don't you embed those questions into those blogs?
Basically, yes. I mean, they can be in the form of headlines or just the words in general. So it's going to be searching for those specific keywords or phrases that you're using to search.
Right. And the thing that I've seen that Google is has changed, and Google's changed a lot. One of the things that we isn't part of this topic, but the PPC, which is pay per click, which is part of search engine optimization, but it's not search engine optimization technically. It's search engine marketing, right? Because you're running ads on search engines. That's what PPC is all about. Okay. And when people are like, well, I want to be found first on Google, and they're a brand new company. Well, first we start with PPC so they can get they can be on the first page.
Right.
Because they're brand
traction.
new. Yeah. And then it gets some traffic to their website. And then, now those are the kinds of keywords we can put in there, like marketer near me and stuff like that, more call to action. But that changed. Like this year, they came out with this new AI, artificial intelligence. I'm not very fond of it, to be honest with you. So what it basically does is it auto-populates keywords automatically for you. If you don't tell Google, I don't want you to do it, it's going to do it for you. And what we have seen is not very good. Not very good.
Because it could populate something that you're not associated with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, we're like, okay, let's just put a stop to it. Robots are great, but sometimes they're not the best thing.
But people are sometimes better.
So yeah, just that small change, right? And it's affected a lot of advertisers. But when it comes to search engine optimization, it does involve that traffic and generate traffic. But one of the biggest things that I've seen is the importance of having a very strong website. And that's important. A strong website, it's been developed properly, because a lot of people want to do Wix, they want to do Squarespace, but those are great starting points. Nothing to knock on them about, but you definitely want to have somebody who is
proficient.
Exactly, proficient. And the thing about it too is every time, and I don't want to toot on our own horns here, but I'm just going to say it. Every time we rebuild a site, the SEO goes up on our clients.
Absolutely.
They go from 10 keywords, organic keywords, to now triple digits.
Right.
It happens every single time because the development of the website is so important. And Richard, who's our director of technology here, he's educated me a lot, right? Because when it comes to search engine optimization, it, like you said, it's not just the keywords. It's how fast your website is. Like how, if they go to your blog, is it going to take 20 seconds to load? Or is it going to take 1 second?
It's also just how it's laid out. Like how quickly can people find what they're looking for?
Exactly. User experience, right? Which is why when you're hiring a digital marketer, you don't want to just hire a search engine optimizer. You don't want to hire just a social media marketer. You don't want to just hire a web designer, because all those pieces, you have to build a machine. And that's what we've been talking about in our last podcast, is that you want to make sure that everything is working together. The website, ranking on search engine optimization, PPC, social media, having the right content. That's how you generate this machine, right, that will then start to convert into leads and business.
And you constantly have to keep it up, too. Otherwise, if you don't add oil to the machine, it quits working eventually. It goes kerplunk.
Yeah, and if you don't do an oil change, you know where that goes, right? You don't change the tires.
Yeah, got to constantly be keeping up with it.
Exactly. So there's this growing hype with WordPress, which is what we use for our clients. And so my question is, why are people more, going towards WordPress? And it keeps on going up, but the people now using WordPress and for their web development, how does that affect SEO?
Well, what I've noticed about WordPress is it's geared towards SEO. Things like Wix and Squarespace, thank you. Those usually aren't found on search engines like Google because they are not geared towards SEO.
Yeah, and what I've seen is that they do have Wix and Squarespace. They have, and I built a Wix website. This is why I know. They have tools in the back end for search engine optimization, and we've been able to rank them on Google for search engine. But there's something about WordPress. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out, but I do know for a fact that, I'm thinking it's because you can manipulate a bit. You have more freedom with WordPress. That you get better results when it comes to search engine optimization.
And it's very user friendly.
Yeah.
Like the other ones are kind of basic and not as easy to use, I think.
Well, everybody has their preference.
Right. Can you tell what mine is?
WordPress. We should get, WordPress.com needs to pay for us.
Right. We should become, partners.
But no, really though. That's just, and that's just our world. If there's other marketers that have been able to get awesome results from Wix, that's great. It's awesome. There's not, and that's a beautiful thing about marketing. There's not one way to do things, and we're not saying don't do Wix, don't do Squarespace. But if you were to hire us, we wouldn't do Wix or Squarespace. Just letting you guys know. So, how does social media tie into search engine optimization?
Well, social media is if you think about it, is where you communicate with your audience, and a website is how you communicate to them, if that makes sense. So social media is not an element of SEO ranking, but it does amplify your website content. So the idea behind social media is sending people to your website so that those ranking factors will go up. Right.
But the thing about it too is and you probably don't know this because you don't work on a tech side of it.
Right. Not a technical person.
Have to, right? I just got to learn. I do a lot. I had to learn it all. But on the back end, you actually have to tell social media platforms like the title, the meta description. You have to put them a featured image. You have to make sure it's set up for searching. Because a lot of people are like, I want my blog on social media. Well, if you don't set it up on the back end of WordPress or on Wix or anything that you're using, it won't populate correctly on social media. Just so you guys know. So if you're looking to do share your blogs on your page, you got to make sure it's set up on the back end, right? And optimized on the back end. Each blog needs to be set up correctly, if that makes sense.
Right.
So when it comes to content, what kind of advice would you give for content creation if some people are working on making sure that their website has more content on there?
So you definitely want to be doing blogs. Now, everybody thinks back to the early 2000s that blogs are personal. Well, they can be. But for your business, you're doing a business blog, which is basically you're informing the customer of some kind of product or service that you offer.
Right.
You can, think of it more as an article than a blog. And you're using those keywords. You have to do the keyword research. You have to, because otherwise it's not going to get seen. And what's the point of having it, right? Mm-hmm. So the more those keywords that you have, which you can fit into a blog, the more the website's going to be crawled and the more that people are going to be are going to find it.
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed on blogging and just keep in mind, I do a lot. I'm the researcher here, right? So, what I do is I research different types of strategies to market. One thing I've noticed in blogs is, so you got the title, right? And I actually learned this from HubSpot. So thank you, HubSpot. But what they'll do is say, okay, so we have the 5 topics, right? And let's just say I'm going to talk about search engine optimization. So, there's 5 things I want to talk about, which is website traffic. There is the meta descriptions and meta keywords. There is backlinks. Okay. There is domain authority. And let's just say footer and header, right?
All very important in SEO.
All right, exactly. And so one thing that that I learned from HubSpot is that you have the title, you have the image, and then you have this block right in the middle of the blog. and in that it has the pinpoints, and it has those specific topics. So like you just listed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are really good. So when people look into Google, you start to pop up on those specific terms.
Right.
So let's talk about that, because I think a lot of people are probably asking you, okay, that's good talk. That's a good topic. Tell me more. Well, those are the 5 things. There's just 5 simple things that you can start with is getting more traffic to your site.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I teach people search engine optimization, I give them the analogy, okay? Imagine Google is Barnes & Nobles, right? If you're selling a book on Barnes & Nobles, where do you want to be? At the front.
Right.
Right? So when you go into the door, I mean, everybody wants to. If you go into the door, you want to be where, okay, there's a stand of books, and it's like, okay, that's where I want to be. So
The first thing you see.
the first thing you see, right? And that's everybody's like, I want to be first on Google. Absolutely. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get there? Well, if your book sucks, you're not going to be in the front.
That's true.
That's just to put it in layman's terms, okay? But and that's I'm sorry, I'm just blunt. If your book sucks, just don't expect to be at the front.
Right.
It's about that relevancy, right? So, if your job is to tell Barnes and Nobles, hey, and Google, hey, people are interested. People want this. People need to know this. People are searching for this. Okay, and what's the word that we use, right? It's the process of becoming relevant. Okay, so it's like,
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to say it or if you were going to. You were pausing for
relevant.
Yeah.
So relevancy. So it's a process of relevant. So then you have so it's going to count. Hey, how much traffic is going to the site? That's why we, as marketers and advertisers, it's important to have traffic going to the site. And then once you have traffic to the site, let's talk about the meta keywords and the meta descriptions. What is that? Well, if you go on the back end of the site, you say, hey, Google's gonna crawl, like they're gonna send their robots and artificial intelligence, and they're gonna say, okay, what is this page about? And you want to tell it immediately by using snippets and previews and meta description, saying, hey, this page is about search engine optimization. This page is about how to rank higher on Google. Mm-hmm. This page is the process of becoming relevant. Like, just those are just different. If you want to take those notes to write that down.
Okay.
Write a blog about it. So then, we talk about, so you're making sure that those titles and meta descriptions on the back end are correct. Great. That's just one part of the process. So then you talk about backlinks. Okay. So is your social media tied to your website? Are your podcasts tied to your website? Are you on Forbes' website? Are you on, the different business avenues, Business Insider? How do you get there? Do you need to do, and this is what I've learned, is where press releases become a little bit more, because people are like, I don't need public relations anymore. But actually, now public relations ties into search engine optimization, mm-hmm. right? So how do you get the PR to do blogs and articles, and you push these articles out and have backlinks coming to your website?
So maybe some of our listeners don't know what a backlink is.
Exactly. Tell them, please educate them.
So a backlink is somebody else posting something that links to your website. And that can also come from your social media. That can come from those different PR things. It can come from another blogger just referencing or using you as a resource to link back to your to your page.
Exactly. And the more links you have backlinking to your page is better. I mean,
Yeah, you're going to be seen as more relevant, and it builds trust, really. The SEO, it's going to see, Google's going to see your website as something of value to everyone, and so they're going to want to rank you higher because people are going to your webpage for that information specifically.
Exactly. Which comes to the next part, which is authority, right?
Right.
And so I have this
That's the word I was looking for.
Exactly, authority. So I have this book publisher guy. I'm just gonna give him a shout out. His name is Paul Brody. He does book publishing. Okay. And the thing about him is that I like his phrase, right? What's the root word of authority?
Author.
Oh, yeah. See, author. There we go. So author is the root word of authority. Well, if you're not an author and you're not publishing on your website, you're not building authority, right?
Right.
And so and so that those backlinks also build your authority.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you going to trust a business that's been in business for 10 years and still going, or are you going to trust a business that's been in business for 10 days?
Right.
So more likely you're going to be like, okay, they're starting off business. If you want to support them, you believe in their vision and dream, then you're going to support them in 10 days. But if it's a serious decision, most of the time you're going to be like, okay, do they have processes? Do they have X, Y, Z? So they're going to go with the 10-year vet, right? They're going to do the veteran business, okay? And so that goes to my point with domain authority. See, the longer the URL has been tracked and on the internet, the higher you're going to rank as well, which is why, a lot of people when they ask me, do I need a new domain? I said, that's not a good idea. Let's go ahead and keep the one that you currently have. It's been in business for 2 years. Right, but I want a name change. That's fine. We can redirect URLs or not. But I just want to let you know the best strategy is to keep the current URL if possible. The URL. Right. What is URL? It's like adventtrinity.com, right? That's a URL. Okay. So, and if you haven't been to our website, there you go, adventtrinity.com.
It's awesome. Go check it out.
Exactly. So, and then we talk about, so now we talked about domain authority. And by the way, these are not in my notes. So I'm just
we're just winging it today.
Just winging it. Let's talk about the header and footer, right? So, things that people don't think about in the header and footer is, do you have your business address or service locations? That's important. If you want to be found in specific cities or states,
that local SEO.
Exactly. Local SEO. And you have to have the Google Maps API. What is an API? It's just a connection. It's a bridge. So you're connecting your data to the Google's database, basically. Okay. So those are just like small things that you have to think about when you're doing search engine optimization. So it's funny because I was supposed to ask what kind of advice you would do for search engine optimization. Here's my advice.
Let's hear it.
Don't do it alone.
Yeah. Do it right and do it right the first time.
Yeah, because half of the time, you know what? Here's my advice. Make sure you have a solid web developer. That's, you know what? That's my advice. So that's a solid advice because 9 times out of 10, if the website wasn't developed correctly, we have to rebuild it. Mm-hmm. We can't do search engine optimization.
We rebuild a lot of websites.
Correct, yeah. You know why?
Why, Bryan?
Because it wasn't built right. We build it. We're the demolition and the rebuild team,
the
construction team, all of it.
Yeah,
take it down and build it back up. So awesome. So that that if you're listening to this and you're thinking about doing search engine optimization, focus on the site, focus on making sure that you're listed on Google My Business, you have a Facebook, all that good stuff.
And make it all connect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can go on and on about this conversation.
Because
it's such a very broad, there's so much that goes into search engine optimization. We would be here all day, to be honest with you.
We would be here for a few weeks, actually.
Yes, exactly. So we are building a course, and for our listeners out there, we're going to be building an online course to teach people. If you are one of those people that says, you know what, I do want to learn about this. I do want to get educated. I want to go step by step through the process. We are building that. We plan to launch it sometime in 2022. So stay tuned. Visit adventtrinity.com to get more information about that. Subscribe to our email on our website. And Leslie here also does our email marketing, so she'd be very happy if you subscribe.
Yeah, we got some all kinds of great things coming up for 2022. So you might want to get in on that, learn a little bit.
Oh yeah. So and talking about our next episode, this is going to be, I think people are going to want to listen to this. So next time we come back, we're going to be talking about social media marketing, and there's some weird stuff happening on the internet with social media.
I'm doing so much research right now.
This is going to be fun. This is and not only, this is such a big topic that we're both doing a podcast and a webinar on this.
Awesome.
So it is going to be some intense information. So if you are following us, make sure to visit us next time so we can talk about our social media marketing. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, New Videsk Co-working and Southwest Restaurant Equipment, for supporting the Atma podcast. My name is Bryan. Thank you, Leslie, for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
See you guys next time.
Bye.